Hello and welcome to the Evening News for today, Tuesday, June 3, 2014. I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for joining us. In the headlines, police charged with assaulting Colwyn Harding. Basil Williams calls Joseph Hamilton a snitch. Teenager hospitalized after alleged police brutality. Man dies after being pulled from burning building. 130 blood samples sent for chikungunya testing. Guyanese robs Florida bank dressed as Iron Man. And legal minds to discuss local government bill. Now for the news in detail. Two Guyana Police Force constables were Tuesday charged for offences allegedly committed on Colwyn Harding, who has accused the police of sodomizing him with a condom-laden baton. Devin Singh of Monrepo on the east coast of Demerara and Russell Tilbury pleaded not guilty to the offences and were granted a total of $300,000 bail. They were each charged with common assault allegedly committed on Harding between November 1 and November 30, 2013. Singh was also charged with assault causing actual bodily harm between November 1 and November 30, 2013. They were placed on $100,000 bail each for each offence by Chief Magistrate Priya Sinarayan Bihari, and the case was transferred to the Providence Magistrates Court. They are to reappear in court tomorrow. Former priest within the House of Israel organization, Joseph Hamilton, has expressed regret over the roles he played in a religious organization accused of creating mischief against political opposition parties in the early 70s and 80s. Alexis Rodney reports.
During examination by legal counsel Lachmi Rahamat, Hamilton told the inquiry that his actions of the past have caused major damage, noting that he continues to live with those regrets. His participation in the Commission of Inquiry is therefore an attempt to clear his conscience. He said he has no apologies for anyone since he has received the blessings of his immediate family. Hamilton was asked the question after he related events revealing the House of Israel's alleged violent attacks on members of opposing political parties, lashing out at them while they attended rallies. He had told the commission that members of the organization, at the request of the PNC government, would use anything they could put their hands on to beat individuals. Hamilton shared his experience at the scene of Father Dark's death in 1979. He said it was a member of the House of Israel, Bilal Atu, who was accused and convicted of the death.
The incident I'm speaking to is 7th of July. Subsequently, they had the trial and whatever. So I would want to believe before the end of 1979, Bilal Atu would have been sentenced, convicted, whatever.
Whose incarceration, you were saying, during his
incarceration? The member of the House of Israel that was convicted for the killing of Father Dark.
Hamilton concluded that Rabbi Washington and his followers were all victims. He posited that the government had taken advantage of Washington's status as a U.S. fugitive to force him to carry out political functions. He said had the rabbi refused to participate, he probably would have found himself on the next plane back to the U.S. For the Evening News, I'm Alexis Rodney.
Meanwhile, the cross-examination of the former executive member of the People's National Congress, Joseph Hamilton, by legal counsel for the PNC, attorney Basil Williams, took an interesting twist when, after giving his evidence in chief, Basil Williams called him a snitch. Here again is Alexis Rodney.
The former PNC executive member had earlier given evidence incriminating former leader of the People's National Congress Reform, Robert Corbin, and former leader of the Good and Green Guyana, and now mayor of Georgetown, Hamilton Green. Hamilton told the commission yesterday that during the activities of the House of Israel organization back in the 70s and 80s, Corbin carried out executive functions within the cadet corps of the Youth Socialist Movement, and that he, Corbin, had handed over pistols to the House of Israel. He mentioned too that both Corbin and Green were reportedly seen with walkie-talkies directing activities during a massive gathering in 1979. But legal counsel for the People's National Congress, Basil Williams, told Hamilton that the evidence was a blatant lie and that he, Hamilton, was retaliating to a falling out he had with both Green and Corbin.
Further putting it to you was because of the bitterness you harbor for your erstwhile political boss that you've come here now to give false evidence against him.
I have my evidence that I have given you is evidence of things that I know transpired that I participated in a period when I served in an organization. It has nothing to do with Horsewell Boss. It has nothing to do with the PPC. It has to do with Hamilton coming here at this opportune moment to speak to the commission about a period in an organization he belonged to. Terrorized persons who were opposing the government.
Williams put it to Hamilton that the falling out had led him to resign from the PNC back in 2007.
I am putting it to you that you also had a falling out with the former leader of the People's National Congress, Mr. Robert Corbyn. That's why you're also bearing false testimony against him.
In rebuttal, Hamilton said he left the party on his own free will.
I had no falling out with Mr. Robert Corbyn. The sequence of events of me removing myself from the PNC is this. In 2007, June, July, some executives of the People's National Congress reform went to Mr. Corbyn and informed...
No, we didn't ask them.
No, I'm telling you there was no falling out.
You want to talk more business now?
But there was no falling out. You're attempting to suggest that there was a falling out. I'm saying I removed myself from the PNC in 2007, July.
For the Evening News, I'm Alexis Rodney.
While Junior Torrington remains in the Georgetown Public Hospital treating injuries suffered as a result of alleged police brutality, the young man's lawyer says that they will be filing a lawsuit against the Guyana Police Force. Gomadi Gangatin reports.
Junior Torrington, the 19-year-old who remains hospitalized at the Georgetown Public Hospital, today spoke to representatives from the media, noting that he is currently experiencing excruciating pains due to the torture allegedly meted out to him by ranks at the Sparendam police station. He further explained the circumstances surrounding his detention by the police.
Actually, I'm in pain, a lot of pain.
Could you take us back to the day? Tell us exactly what happened.
Actually, sir, I had 2 puppies in my yard, and my grandmother didn't want me to keep them here, so I went to Pleasance.
Yeah.
So I went to Pleasance to take my puppies to for somebody to keep them, right?
Yeah.
And on my way there.
Hello. Why is this guy outside?
Tell us what happened.
Yeah, because
so what the police did to you?
Go in the room.
The police locked me up.
Yeah. He has to
take me to the station
Yes.
and burnt my hands very badly, as you can see.
Could you identify the police?
What are the names?
I don't know the names of the police.
What is throw in your hands?
They threw mentolated and burned my hands, sir.
And I understand you were in the lockup for over 2 days. It's 2 days they brought you out after you were burned?
72 hours.
72 hours.
Yeah, that's 3 days.
Meanwhile, the teen's lawyer, Dexter Todd, related that he is very disturbed by the alleged actions of the police force, and if justice cannot be served by the investigations, then legal action will be taken.
Definitely, we are going to give the police an opportunity, as they have initiated the investigation through the Office of Professional Responsibility to investigate this matter. They are going to take statements today, and we believe that they are going to be given an opportunity to do a fair investigation so that justice will be served in this matter.
Anytime.
The lawyer laid rumors to rest which suggested that the teen had received compensation from the police officers reportedly involved in the matter.
But that is not instructions that I have. I believe the $100,000 based on my instructions were given to assist him with his transportation, and not as one to not allow the course of justice to take its rightful course, and for the police to investigate this matter. So I don't know that.
Thanks.
The teen's father refused to provide a comment to media operatives, stating that whatever has to be said will be disclosed by his lawyer. Torrington's case comes as the police is facing severe criticisms for its continuous brutality, with the most memorable being the shooting in the mouth of 15-year-old Alex Griffith and the 2013 incident of Colwyn Harding. Reporting for the Evening News, Gomati Gangadin.
26-year-old Lekram Mahadio, a resident of Palm Coast and of Guyanese nationality, was today arrested and charged with armed robbery with a deadly weapon and grand theft after he robbed a Wells Fargo bank on Belterre Parkway in Flagler County at about 16 hours on June 2. Mahadio donned like the famous Marvel superhero Iron Man costume and ran into the bank and demanded that employees hand over money at gunpoint. He managed to escape with $23,000 US. Join us after the break for more news. This is the Evening News. This is the Evening News. Welcome back. As the Ministry of Health continues its efforts to combat the chikungunya virus in Guyana, over 130 blood samples have been sent to the Trinidad-based Caribbean Public Health Agency laboratory for testing. Gabriela Patram reports.
Even as efforts are being made to intensify the campaign to control the potential impact of the chikungunya virus in the Berbice area, over 130 blood samples were taken in recent days from persons found to be suffering from symptoms of fever. This is according to Director of the Vector Controls Department of the Ministry of Health, Dr. Riyad Rahman, in a telephone interview earlier today with this newscast. He stated that he has been spearheading vector control activities mainly characterized by intense fogging of the areas where persons were found with fever symptoms. In fact, Dr. Rahman disclosed that they are doing house-to-house spraying and spraying schools around the area as well. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Shamdeo Pasod noted that while the transmission of the virus is facilitated by mosquitoes, when it reaches a widespread state, the possibility exists that it can use animals as reservoirs. Moreover, the Health Ministry Veterinary Public Health Department is currently involved in the strategic efforts to combat the virus. The doctors are encouraging people with these symptoms such as high fevers above 39 degrees with associated joint pain, back pain, muscle pain, any form of rash to seek medical attention because early intervention can prevent complications from occurring. Guyana has been on high alert ever since reports surfaced of the virus entry into parts of the Caribbean last year. Just last week, 2 cases of the virus, a 4-year-old and a 50-year-old woman, were found in the Kanji section of Berbice. They are both being treated for the virus, which has similarities to dengue fever. Reporting for the Evening News, I'm Gabriela Patram.
A 76-year-old man is now dead after a fire of unknown origin raged through the house he was residing in at Turkine in the east coast of Demerara, and now relatives are questioning whether foul play was involved.
Dead is Susu Sankar of Lot 33, Turkine, East Coast, Demerara, who was pronounced dead on arrival at the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, GPHC, around 11:30 hours last evening. The man's son, Sonny Susankar, in an interview with the Evening News, related that he is still trying to come to grips with the incident since it transpired minutes after he left the house.
I went to drop 2 people home, and when I come back, I see fire in the front. I want to open up this door. I really bad holler inside there, and I go open up the door, and I can't get it because the heat was too hot. I tried to soak it up. I got a barrel of water up there. I tried to throw some water to cool down the area, and when I go inside, a big blast of the heat and fire came on me, and I come back out, and I rush outside to get the fire department. They were setting up their pump. And I tell them, send me pump up here to wet down this here. And my dad is inside. Right? The truck was wet in the front and the other side of the house. But my main objection was to get him out of the house.
And where he was at the time of the fire?
Where he was?
Your father.
Well, I don't know where he was, but I am suggesting that he was somewhere around the area there at the bathroom. And I just tell him, just go in the bathroom and turn on the water. Mm-hmm. And then when I go outside, I come back, he stopped making noise. He stopped hollering.
Susankar further stated that he is very suspicious of the fire, noting that the point of origin of the fire did not correspond to any of the features of the layout of the area. He disclosed too that an opening in a fence has been discovered and that the family was robbed on several occasions in the past. Evening News has learned too that several documents which had been found missing mysteriously turned up this morning when he revisited the site. On this note, he stated that while he cannot point fingers and conclude on the matter, he is of the strong belief that the fire is not natural but was maliciously set. Meanwhile, investigators from the Guyana Fire Service, who were on the scene in an invited comment, stated that the investigations are in progress and no disclosures can be made at this point. Susankar was described as a hard-working and dedicated father. A post-mortem is expected to be performed on the body on Wednesday. Reporting for the Evening News, Gomati Gangadin.
The legal minds sitting on both sides of the National Assembly will be meeting soon to effect the necessary changes to the 4 local government bills that were rejected by President Donald Ramotar. This move is necessary to facilitate the passage of the Anti-Money Laundering and Countering the Financing of Terrorism Amendment Bill. Svetlana Marshall reports.
President Donald Ramotar and Leader of the Opposition David Granger met last evening, where it was agreed that the Legal Affairs Minister Anil Nandlall and the Shadow Minister Basil Williams will meet to discuss the local government bills that were rejected. Addressing the press today, the opposition leader said this decision was taken in an effort to meet one of the conditionalities set by the Partnership for National Unity for the passage of the Anti-Money Laundering and Countering the Financing of Terrorism Bill.
In order to get the bills back into the House in a form that is likely to be approved by both sides of the House, I recommended to the President that his Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs, Mr. Anil Nandlall, should sit down with our Shadow Minister for Legal Affairs, Mr. Basil Williams, so they can hammer out what changes, if any, are needed. And if there are no changes, we bring it back to the House.
During the meeting with the President, the opposition leader made it clear that the proposed amendments to the Anti-Money Laundering and Countering the Financing of Terrorism Act of 2009 must be passed in the National Assembly. While the Alliance for Change leader, Kimraj Ramjatan, was not present at the meeting, Granger said he remains optimistic that within days, tripartite talks will commence to meet the demands of the opposition parties.
I invited the President to have bilateral talks with the Alliance for Change. I don't want to put myself in the shoes of the Alliance for Change, but we are aware of their concerns, and they've been very consistent over the last 14 months. And they are not necessarily against the recommendation that we've made. That is to say, APNU has made. So as far as I'm concerned, we did raise the matter of the AFC, and I'm not going to be negotiating on behalf of the AFC. They will do that for themselves. So as part of our agreement, there's likely to be some tripartite exposure.
The Caribbean Financial Action Task Force, CFATF, has referred Guyana to the Financial Action Task Force for an International Cooperation Review Group review. Even as blacklisting looms, the parties are hoping to arrive at a consensus in an effort to pave way for the passage of the bill before FATF meets on June 19. Svetlana Marshall reporting for the Evening News.
In the courts, 40-year-old Julian Robertson of 178 James Street, Albuystown, today appeared at the Georgetown Magistrates Court after he was slapped with a charge of common assault. The charge alleges that on May 27, 2014, an argument ensued between the defendant and his 18-year-old girlfriend, Shanice Joseph, after which he began choking her and making threats to kill her. The complainant got fearful and reported the incident, after which investigations were carried out and the accused was subsequently arrested. The defendant was released on his own recognizance and was bonded to keep the peace. He is set to return to court on June 12, 2014. Should Guyana take a page out of the African country Malawi on financial intelligence matters? Malawi's Financial Intelligence Unit was touted by the Caribbean Development Bank advisor, Dr. Toussaint Boyce, during his lecture on effective anti-money laundering and countering the financing of terrorism regimes. Svetlana Marshall reports.
The spotlight was placed on Malawi, a country in Southeast Africa, when the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry Distinguished Lecture Series unfolded on Monday evening at the Pegasus Hotel. In delivering his presentation, Dr. Toussaint Boyce said Malawi's Financial Intelligence Unit is an autonomous national agency operating in collaboration with governmental departments and agencies to which it can provide financial intelligence. The FIU, which forms part of the anti-money laundering regime, reports to the Parliament through the Finance Minister, Dr. Boyce pointed out, noting too that the director is appointed by the President, but this appointment is subject to the approval of the Public Appointments Committee of Parliament.
Effective AML safety systems
can be bespoke, can be tailored, can be unique. And FATF is ensuring that on a new methodology, their assessors understand that there are several different ways to achieve an effective AML CFT system.
Though referencing to Malawi's FIU, Dr. Boyce made it clear that his views do not represent that of the organizations he represents. It was also made clear that his presentation was not intended to fulfill any political agenda or show bias to any political party. He, however, believes that Guyana can overcome this hurdle by finding a common ground.
We have, within the depths of this current crisis, an opportunity to craft an AML CFT regime that is entirely suitable to our needs, but that is exactly compliant and also, moreover, effective.
In Guyana, a Partnership for National Unity, APNU, at the level of the Parliamentary Special Select Committee, is attempting to make similar legislative changes to the Principal Act, the Anti-Money Laundering and Countering the Financing of Terrorism Act of 2009. In one of the three proposed amendments, APNU is seeking to establish an Anti-Money Laundering and Countering the Financing of Terrorism Authority by the National Assembly. However, in a letter dated May 14, 2014, CFATF Executive Director Calvin Wilson said the proposed amendments to establish the AML CFT Authority appears to undermine the autonomy of the Financial Intelligence Unit. Svetlana Marshall reporting for the Evening News.
More news still ahead. Stay tuned. This is the Evening News. Welcome back. This is the Evening News on TVG. In this report, you'll hear that Guyana has managed to grow and develop its economy by creating a place for itself in the CARICOM single market and economy, making its mark in the region and beyond. Details in this report.
At a recent forum, Foreign Affairs Minister Caroline Rodrigues-Burkett disclosed that Guyana was named the most progressive member country when it comes to implementing the CSME initiatives. Then, in her budget speech, the minister had pointed out that the country's overall export has doubled in 2013 due to increased export of its main products. In an interview with this newscast, Minister Rodrigues-Burkett explained that the marketing plays an integral part in achieving such good results. The Foreign Affairs Minister added that most of Guyana's trading is done through partnership with the Caribbean.
A lot of our trade agreements now are negotiated as a region, so that makes it easy in the sense that we're right now negotiating with Canada, and that's done on a regional basis. We have a team of negotiators. Our person here from the ministry, our negotiator is Mr. Neville Totoram, and so we have regional positions on that.
The minister noted that there is also collaboration with local ministers to market Guyana, particularly with the Ministry of Tourism, Industry and Commerce. She referred to impending operations of Copa Airlines in Guyana, stating that her ministry began the talks and then handed it over to the acting tourism minister. Rodrigues-Burkett explained that the increased numbers of airlines coming to Guyana shows the potential the country has.
The fortunate thing is that people that are looking inside of Guyana, they are seeing the potential. They are seeing what are the possibilities. Unfortunately, there are some in Guyana who do not see that, and we are hoping that with the interest that's been shown by these, not only the airlines but other investors, that we together, all of us here in Guyana too, would work to make this potential realized.
The Foreign Affairs Minister further noted that Guyana is making headway regarding its relationship with the Caribbean region and Latin America. Reporting for the Evening News, I'm Gomati Gangadin.
Following a violent episode at the New Amsterdam prison where 4 inmates were critically wounded, allegedly by a fellow prisoner, the Ministry of Home Affairs is putting together a board of inquiry into the incident. Ruben Stobie reports.
Home Affairs Minister Clement Rohi, speaking at a press conference at Freedom House on Monday, said a board of inquiry is being put together in keeping with the Prisons Act and to get to the bottom of the incident. He further said a number of citizens have been identified as well as a senior police officer.
To go into the source and cause and to make recommendations of the incident that recently took place at the New Amsterdam prison.
4 prisoners of the New Amsterdam facility were injured when an inmate reportedly attacked them with a cutlass over a week ago. There were reports that the 4 men attacked were part of a notorious gang in the facility. However, Roy said he wasn't yet subscribing to that, but would rather wait on the findings of the Board of Inquiry. Roy further said government is continuing to execute its strategic plan for the Guyana Prison Service and even unsuccessfully went to Parliament to have the name of the service changed to the Guyana Prison and Correctional Service to coincide with the institutional changes.
So, even though we didn't get de jure the permission to change the name, de facto changes are already taking place within the prison service. A number of bodies have been set up internally in keeping with the strategic plan. These are administrative measures that have been taken in keeping with the Prison Act to ensure that a greater balance is brought to custodial as well as correctional.
The PPP General Secretary and Home Affairs Minister said a modern prison system must have a balance between custodial responsibilities and correctional responsibilities and has started to do so beginning with the Lusignan prison.
The Lusignan prison will become a model prison where only force offenders will be housed and where only those persons found with small amounts of ganja will be held, far away from the hardened criminals.
According to Rohi, changes will move the Tumeri prison and the Mazaruni prison, which will become the hub of the agricultural drive of the Guyana Prison Service. Reporting for the Evening News, Ruben Stobie.
Some 242 cases are listed to be heard in the Demerara June Criminal Assizes in Georgetown. The session opened today.
The session began with its usual pump and grandeur as the Guyana Police Force Band marched from Brickdam Police Station and proceeded along Crowell Street and South Road. The march past saw Justice William Ramlal taking the salute and inspecting the Guard of Honor. He, along with Justice Navindra Singh and Justice Don Gregory, will preside over the June Criminal Assizes. Justice Ramlal has some 81 cases listed to be heard before him, while Justice Gregory has 79 cases and Justice Singh 82. Meanwhile, the gold delivery was done on Monday, bringing an end to the April Criminal Assizes. There were 230 cases listed to be heard during that session. 10 were completed. There were 3 guilty verdicts, 5 not guilty verdicts, and 2 hung juries. During the time period, Justice Diana Insanali presided over the Berbice February criminal session. However, Justice Brassington Reynolds subsequently took over from her. Justice Insanali completed 2 murder cases in which both accused were sentenced to 11 and 20 years respectively. The Berbice June session will commence on June 9th, with some 37 cases to be heard. Then, in Essequibo, the May criminal session began with 15 matters scheduled to be heard. The session commenced on May 20th and will run until October. For the Evening News, Shania Singh.
Your regional, international, bridge and ferry reports are after a break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. This is the Evening News on TVG. In the region, tear gas canisters fired by thousands on the streets of Caracas are being transformed into sculptures in a competition seeking to give an artistic twist to this year's anti-government unrest in Venezuela. The opposition-governed Chacao district, a hotbed of violent clashes between mass protesters and security forces in the capital, is inviting locals to submit creations by the end of this month based on spent canisters found on the streets. This initiative seeks to convert instruments of repression into a tool of peaceful protest, read the council's invitation, which has a photo of a pink flower poking out of a canister. At least 42 people died and nearly 900 were hurt in the violence around the protests, with victims on both sides. Internationally, U.S. President Barack Obama has announced plans for a $1 billion fund to increase U.S. military deployments to Europe during a visit to Poland. Obama, who will meet NATO leaders and amid concerns over the Ukraine crisis, said the security of Americans' European allies was sacrosanct. In April, 150 U.S. soldiers were sent to Poland for military exercises amid growing tensions with Russia. In case of just joined us, you're watching the evening news. We now take a look at your bridge reports. The Damrar Harbour Bridge will be closed on Wednesday, June 4th, 8 hours 30 for a period of 1.5 hours. And the Berbice River Bridge will be closed on Wednesday, June 4th, 7 hours 55 for a period of 1.5 hours. And for those of you using the ferry service, the Perique and Supernam ferries will be departing at 8 hours on Wednesday, June 4. Both ferries are also slated to depart their respective locations at 21 hours on Wednesday, June 4, 2014. Join us after the break for sports, sponsored by MacCorp. This is the Evening News. Welcome back. Now for a look at sport, but first, the headlines. Kevin O'Brien excited to play Limacol CPL. West Indies named 13-man squad for New Zealand Test Series. Media 11 beat Enmore over 40 cricket team. And David Beckham tempted to come out of retirement. Of course, this podcast comes to the kind compliments of MacCorp.
We believe that everything worth building should be built just once. But that is why we build on culture, on trust, on integrity. We exist to do more, better, faster, safer. Your success depends on the foundation it's built on. Everything we do is meant to move you forward. MacCorp, let's build Guyana together.
We start off with some cricket news. Kevin O'Brien is back for the Limacol Caribbean Premier League 2014 and he's coming with high expectations. After helping the Red Steel to reach the semi-finals in the inaugural season in 2013, he's aiming to go all the way this year. More in this report. The 2014 edition of the Caribbean Premier League will be back in just under 6 weeks when the Caribbean will once again light up for this thrilling party atmosphere across 30 exciting matches. O'Brien said, quote, "I'm very excited to be back in the Caribbean and happy that the Red Steel re-signed me. As well as looking forward to linking up with the Red Steel team again, I'm also looking forward to meeting the new players." End quote. The CPL will add 2 new locations to this season's event, with the Spice Isle Grenada hosting the opening games and St Kitts and Nevis the closing round. O'Brien, who also runs his own cricket academy based in Dublin, said, and I quote, "CPL is growing from strength to strength and the addition of new venues will definitely add to the brand image, so I'm really excited to be part of it and I'm especially looking forward to the opening set of games in Grenada." End quote. Other changes this year include each team playing 2 more league games, which the 2013 Affiliate and Associate Cricketer of the Year thinks is great news. Quote, "It gives us the Red Steel an opportunity to gel more and develop our team chemistry. I am familiar with some of the new players in the squad like Jamshed, whom I faced when we, the Ireland, played Pakistan, and also Kinar Lewis of Jamaica, who I came across in a Najiko Super 50 a few months ago." End quote. Having always had a desire to play cricket professionally, playing in the 2004 Under-19 World Cup in Bangladesh was a great learning curve, helping him to develop the fundamentals of the game. During that tournament, he helped the Ireland Under-19 team by scoring 241 runs, seeing them through to the plate semi-finals before being defeated by Australia. The second Limacol CPL will start on July 11 and conclude on August 17, with Jamaican Tallowers taking on last year's runners-up, the Guyana Amazon Warriors, Barbados Tridents, Antigua Hawks Bills, St. Lucia Zooks, and the Trinidad and Tobago Red Steel. In what was a clinical performance, the Media 11 outplayed Enmore over 40 by 27 runs to win their featured 2020 clash at the Enmore Community Centre ground on Sunday afternoon. The match was reduced to 16 overs a side due to a late start, and the Media 11 sent into bat posted a challenge in 120 for 8 before routing the home team for 93 through a disciplined bowling effort. Here are details. The media side was indebted to a fine all-round performance from Keon Blades and a fiery opening spell from skipper Calvin Roberts, who led the way in ensuring a maiden victory after the first game against the Georgetown Cricket Umpires and Scores Association was washed out on Independence Day at Border. Blades stroked a breezy 30, inclusive of a 6 and a 4, and John Ramsing made a solid 28 at the top of the order to lead the media side to a competitive 120 for 8 from 16 overs. Bowling for Enmore, Vijay Das snared 3 for 18 and Ian Abel 2 for 13. The Enmore side never recovered from the early loss of Sheikh Mohammed, bowled by Calvin Roberts, before the same bowler followed up with the wickets of Jagdish Prasad and the dangerous Abel. After that, it went downhill for Enmore as Blades proceeded to rip through the middle and lower order, picking up 4 for 16 from 2.4 overs despite a wayward first over in which he sent down 6 wides. Roberts finished with 3 for 15 from 3 overs. At a presentation ceremony which followed, Blades was duly named man of the match, while Roberts was named best bowler and Ramsing was adjudged best batsman. All the trophies, including those for the winner and runner-up, were sponsored by Tiger Sports of Enmore Old Road. Roberts lauded his players for the win and expressed appreciation for the hospitality provided by the Enmore team.
I know, Skipper, you're not accustomed being in the position you are, but I can tell you this victory is very overwhelming for us, and I appreciate you having us here today. To my team, I want to say thank you very much. You put in the hard work. I appreciate the effort. Thanks for the support in the field, the batsmen, the bowlers, the fielders. Thank you very much, and yes, we're open to the rematch at any given time. Thank you.
Enmore skipper Anil Prasad said being on the losing side is a rarity for his team, but he congratulated the media boys for a good display and threw out an invitation for a rematch, one which was readily accepted.
And I'm not accustomed to being in this position like most of the times I'm normally winning captain and receiving the trophy. But all in all, it was a good game, and we thank you here for coming and hope that we can get a rematch, or not necessarily a rematch, a next game shortly, as the weather will be kind of difficult now to arrange. But as soon as we get it, we're going to keep in contact and arrange the next game, and hopefully this time we will come out victorious.
Meanwhile, the Media 11 is in discussion with several clubs across the country, and at least 3 matches are lined up for the next month. Fast bowler Jerome Taylor and left-arm spinner Suleiman Ben have earned a recall to the West Indies team, while fast bowler Kemar Roach returns from injury for the first test against New Zealand. Taylor and Ben were overlooked for the past 2 years, but consistent performances at the domestic level have worked in their favour, while Roach is back after a prolonged injury. The team will be led by the newly appointed captain Dinesh Ramdin, with the first test starting on June 8 at Sabina Park in Jamaica. The squad is Dinesh Ramdin, captain Suleiman Ben, Craig Brafitt, Darren Bravo, Shiv Chandapal, Kirk Edwards, Shannon Gabriel, Chris Gale, Kieran Powell, Kemar Roach, Marlon Samuels, Shane Shillingford and Jerome Taylor. Dwayne Bravo is unavailable for selection due to injury and will return to Trinidad and Tobago to continue his rehabilitation. Meanwhile, the ace test batsman Shivnarayan Chandapal said he's ready for the task of facing the Black Caps in the 3-test match series. Are you generally satisfied with your fitness and your preparation heading into the series?
Yeah, obviously I've been doing a lot of work out there. Even though when I'm playing, I still hit the gym, get some work done. Get in the nets every day, try to hit some balls, hit as much as I can on the machine, and you know, there are always guys there to work with, and the coach is always around to help you. So yeah, I've been doing pretty much every day working out there. Just here now, you know, just have to start of the camp and then see how much cricketing work we will get to do when we get out there. You know, going into New Zealand, the last time we played them in the Caribbean, you know, it was, you know, we beat them, but the last time we played them in New Zealand, they beat us. So, you know, they come in pretty hard, and they're going to be pretty tough also to deal with. But, you know, I'm hoping that this condition help us a little more, and we can come out with some wins.
And finally, some football news. David Beckham has hinted he may resume his career by playing for a Major League Soccer team he's trying to launch in Miami. The 39-year-old former England captain retired in May 2013 after a 20-year playing career that ended with a short spell at Paris Saint-Germain. Beckham admitted he had a tough time after retiring as a player, but has gone through a stage of enjoying the rest and is tempted to come out of retirement. The former England captain, who earned 115 international caps and major club honours in 4 countries, has declared he hopes to start an American soccer franchise. And with that, we've come to the end of sport, which is sponsored by MarCorp. And that's a wrap on the evening news for today, Tuesday, June 3, 2014. On behalf of all of us here, I'm Afanash Ramzan. Thanks for watching.